Hey folks, AJ here, and we're here for episode number 2 of the Media Booth. Actually, this is my second time recording this because my mic didn't record. But thank you so much for the comments and the love and the support on this new podcast that we're doing. And it seems like y'all really enjoyed episode number 1. And again, I want this to be one of those things where it's like this is if you are a part of my media ministry and we're coming upstairs and we're just having a meeting and we're talking about some of the stuff that we have to deal with. So, and it's funny that through the stuff I do on a weekly basis, it is funny how it coincides where ultimately where my mind is of what I want to talk about. And that was no exception this past week. And I'm still trying to figure out what I'm actually going to title this podcast episode, but the best thing I can talk about is last week we were talking about practice. What I've been really realizing across all the churches that I've dealt with, which is good because we're the same, no matter what skin color, denomination, whatever, we're dealing with the same thing because we're dealing with people. One thing I've noticed that almost every single ministry I've dealt with, you have that one person who is the conduit, the cornerstone that everybody comes to and they're deemed, whether self-deemed or the church gives them this title of they are the go-to person. They are the keeper of all the knowledge when it comes to media ministry, which is not a bad thing depending on how that person receives it. So a lot of times I come in let's start this way. I hope to give an example of how I do stuff as well too, that at no point in time have I ever said and called myself a guru or try and put myself on a podium and say that I am the go-to for everything. No. If anything, if there's something I don't know, I'm quick to point to somebody else because I don't know everything. It's foolish to try and say that you do know everything. I'm always the student. I'm always trying to learn. But the issue I've seen is there is a select amount of people that are in media ministry that have some status or status, as some people will call it, in their position that you can't tell them anything. They know everything. And one of the funniest things that I deal with is like a church will bring me in. They've hired me. And I'll go through looking through their stuff and giving examples of what to do. And this person is like, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know how to do that. I know. I'm like, if you knew how to do that, why didn't you do it? And why are you only now mentioning that you know how to do the very same thing that a church had to hire me for to come in and consult y'all with? Like, there's no shame in not knowing something. The shame is when you claim to know something and you make yourself look like a fool because you can't do what you're claiming. Like, I've had so many people that'll come in and say, oh yeah, I know how to do all that live streaming stuff like AJ does. Then why has your ministry been sitting here for 5 years and y'all still not doing anything? If you know how to do what I'm doing, then why don't you do it? Or if you can do better than what I'm doing, yes, please do that. Again, I'm not the standard. But if you can do everything that you claim to do, well, then why are you not doing it? Again, I don't know what this issue is, but there is no harm in acknowledging that you're wrong or that you don't know something. Like we have like the downside of all this social media stuff is everybody, like you go to Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever, you're always seeing people at their best. Because when's the last time you seen somebody post a picture of like, man, good morning, I woke up, man, I'm busted and disgusted and blah. Nobody does that. They use these platforms to put their best foot forward, which is good from a ministry standpoint. You want to put your best foot forward when you put it up, but you also need to be realistic, meaning that, hey, I'm showing you I'm going to do the best that I can, but I don't do everything right. That's why some people have gotten after me from my YouTube stuff saying like, why don't you edit out all the stuff where you mess up? Because that's different than me. I want to show you that I don't know everything. And if, as much as I've been doing this, if I mess up, it's nothing wrong with it if you mess up too. That's why I do it. I don't cut out unless I completely derail my comment, I'll cut that out because I'll redo it. But no, if I make a mistake, I do this wrong, I do that wrong, I leave that in because that's how you learn. You learn by failure. You don't learn by being perfect, because if you were perfect, then there was no reason to learn because you've already done it perfectly. So I don't know what it is that people that are in certain positions, you can always learn. That's why we always say, always be the student, because there's something you can always learn, because something is always changing. It's impossible for one person to be up on everything all the time. That's the reason why we have this Facebook community that we built out, so that, hey, I might be like right now, I'm dabbling in AI, but I know there are people in the group that have done it way longer than I have. So I'm leaning on learning from them. There are other people that have done more with cameras and apertures and focal points and lenses and stuff like that. I'm delving into that stuff. So I lean on them. How silly is it for me to come in, like a church will bring me in, like, hey, AJ, we want to do this. We want to do lighting. That's great. I can help you with everything else. I have not done lighting. I don't know about that. If you're willing to let y'all be my guinea pig, I will learn. But I'm telling you, that is not my specialty. I will see about getting somebody else. Now, somebody else, oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that. And now you look like a fool. I remember quoting this, that my drill instructor in the Marines, in boot camp, drill instructor Sergeant Hanson, he was always tell us, you can either get smart or you can get strong. And what does that mean? If we didn't learn our lesson in boot camp, we would have to do push-ups. We'd have to go to the pit. We'd have to run. We'd have to do leg lifts. We'd have to do pull-ups. We would strengthen our body because it was easier to strengthen this than to strengthen this. That's why it's about get smarter or get stronger. In other words, you're going to keep hitting your head against a wall, try to claim or straight lie about what you do and what you claim to know, or you can get smart and be like, I don't need to know everything. That's what a community is for. That's what YouTube is for. It's like, look, if you are at a church that has a system in place and you forego all of that because you refuse to learn and you want to go, like I know of a church that they have camera systems, they have everything, but the guru still wants to lean towards the iPad because that's what they know. It's easier to stick with that, and you make up something saying that this is more reliable when the truth is you just haven't put the time into it. You don't know it. It's nothing wrong with that. I didn't know PTZs because I couldn't afford them until PTZ Optics gave me one to do a review. Now I learned, I played around, I became more knowledgeable and stuff. There is no reason, and I'm not just talking about media ministries. This could go into another topic completely. This is talking for leadership. Just because you're in a leadership position does not mean that you know everything. It doesn't. Just because you're the pastor, you're the trustee, you're the deacon, you're the head of the usher board, you're the head of the music department, you're the head of media, you're the head of janitorial services, you're the head of transportation, does not mean that you know everything in that department that you're functioning in, or in any other department that you're not functioning in. And there's no wrong in asking for help. That's the reason why this community was built. Being a preacher's kid and being in church my whole life, the biggest thing that we have failed on is the enemy has tricked us into fighting amongst each other, ignoring him instead of us working together. That's the whole point where I say we don't care if you sprinkle, dip, or dunk. It's about us coming together and working together. I don't need to know all of this other stuff if there's somebody over in this other ministry that is good at it. Why not reach out to other ministries in your city and bring them in to help train them on something that they're doing? Oh, this church, their lighting is great. Why not bring them in and get them with that? Maybe your ministry does something good that they can learn from. That's how we work together to reach our goals. We're trying to be a one-man army, one-woman army, doing everything ourselves, in your ministry, you're the go-to that just knows everything, and you're not willing to humble yourself and be like, I don't know this. I don't need to put up a front to act like I know everything. This is an issue that we have. This is where we need continued learning. Let's go forward. And you, when that mindset, you are holding your ministry hostage because of your ego. You don't want anybody to move forward because you deem it appropriately, because you have put this front up to say, you know this, you know that. And I don't understand why that is. And again, I've seen this across a gamut of ministries. So it's not a specific denomination, it's not a specific color, it's just human nature. Again, we don't want to admit that we're wrong. So I'm not saying about me telling you, well, I guess in this moment I am, but this is more of like we need to do some real self evaluation. If you knew all that you knew to do, like me, let me put myself on the chopping block. That's easier. If I knew all there was to grow YouTube, I wouldn't be at 55,000 subscribers. I'd be at multiple millions. There's still more that I need to learn. My business is not at 10, 15 million yet in yearly revenue because there's stuff I still need to learn to get there. And again, your ministry is not having that much of an impact. Even if you knew everything in media and all this other stuff, then why aren't people listening to you? If you have all this knowledge, why are you keeping it to yourself? And then more importantly, where is the fruit for your local ministry if you knew all that you knew? So again, I don't mean this to be a beatdown session, but it's just one of those things that, and I constantly do this myself. And I'm like, where are my flaws? Where am I messing up on? Where should I work more on? What can I improve on? Not what can I save face? What can I lie about? What can I try and act like I know something I don't? Like, I don't want to do that because that makes me accountable for the very thing. At this point, there's so many people to listen to me. I am very cautious of what I say because some people will just take what I'm saying and just run with it. That's why I want to make sure I vet everything. Anytime I talk about a product, it's something I've used extensively before I ever mention it, or I'll say, hey, I've never used anything, but if you need a suggestion, I would look at this. But again, I have not used this. So I want to steer you in a direction. So I need to listen to this again and just make sure that I can figure out a title for what this is. But again, I hope this helps. Folks, I understand what we're doing is very tough. It really is. But don't make it tougher by you just being difficult, wanting to save your ego, want to maintain the status or this whatever, that this preconceived notion that everybody has that you are the most knowledgeable and knower of everything there is to know about this. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you're wrong or I don't know, because that's the step to learn. You can never learn anything new if you already think you know everything. So I hope that helps. Let me know down below. Again, this is meant to be just like I bring you into the media booth and we're sitting talking about what we need to do to move forward, our ups and downs, the lefts and rights that we need to do, the U-turns we need to make to fix what our media ministry is. So I hope this helps. Let me know down below. This is catered for y'all. This isn't just going to be me talking. We're going to have guests. We're going to be talking, and it's going to be a dialogue. But we want to talk about some of those things that you might not be able to talk about at your ministry because you got micromanagers, you got people looking over, you got preconceived notions. Let us talk about it because, hey, I'm not at your ministry. I can talk about almost anything. But let me know down below, what are some topics you would like for me and maybe some other people I bring in to talk about. So appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button, folks. Please make sure if you like the stuff that we do on our regular channel or this, go ahead and subscribe it. Please share it with other people. This is how we grow, where we reach more. Because again, it's not just about the technical knowledge. I want to develop this muscle up here, how we think, how to properly do stuff, and so that all of us can grow and be more of an individual, more of our ministry as well too. So thanks for watching, folks, and listening, folks. This is AJ. We'll catch you on the next one.